Good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. It will be on body language and facial expressions. I am your presenter, Mrs. Emerentia Botes. Okay, first, let us look at what is body language. Now, body language is a form of non-verbal communication. So that is the way we use our bodies, faces, and gestures to express feelings and attitudes, so without using words. Then we communicate more through body language than through words, sometimes without even realizing it. An example, if someone crosses their arms and that person looks away, they might be feeling angry, defensive, or even bored. Now, the key point I want to make with this, our bodies often speak louder than our words. If we look at types of body language, let's see how we speak with our bodies. The first one there, posture. So when you're standing tall, it can communicate confidence. If you look at that, or slouching, that could communicate boredom or low energy maybe. Then if we look at gestures at B, there's a lot of gestures that you can make. So that means movements with the hands or arms to emphasize your speech. You will see a lot of times teachers, when they teach, they use their hands a lot. They use a lot of gestures to communicate. Now there's examples, nodding, that means agreement, waving, greeting, or pointing. That might be seen as rude, but it can also be if you point at something. Then at C, eye contact, we also use that. That shows attention, honesty, or interest. For example, if you look someone in the eye, it can communicate confidence. But if you're avoiding eye contact, it could be nervousness or dishonesty maybe. Then D, space or proximity, the distance between people during conversation. If you're too close, it's uncomfortable. Or if you are too far, it signifies disinterest. Then facial expressions. Facial expressions are universal. People all over the world smile when they are happy and they frown when they are upset. They show emotion without words. So same as body language, you can also use your facial expressions to show emotion without using words. The key idea, faces reveal what people feel, even if they say nothing. Let's look at that. For example, the expression smile, the emotion can be happiness. And that's maybe when you greet someone, when you see someone and you're happy to see them. Or frown could indicate sadness when you hear bad news. Frown could also be when you're angry. Raised eyebrows, surprised. So seeing something shocking, then maybe it surprises you. You would raise your eyebrows, mouth wide open, surprise. Tight lips, if you're just tight-lipped, it can mean you're very angry. That could be hiding feelings maybe. Wide eyes can also mean fear maybe, so like facing a dangerous situation. Now, how cartoons use body language and facial expressions. Remember, this is what we need also in our curriculum, is to see this in our cartoons and comic strips. So the cartoons, in a cartoon or a comic strip, artists exaggerate body language and facial expressions to show emotion clearly. And why do they do that? It's because the reader cannot hear the characters' voices. So now you have to rely on their facial expressions and on their body language. So these visual clues help readers understand tone, mood, and emotion instantly. Let's look at an example. A character with sweat drops on their face could indicate someone who's nervous or worried. If you look at that picture, do you see the sweat drops everywhere? So this person is nervous or worried, and it seems like he's writing a test, so he's really worried. Maybe he did not study enough. A frowning face with clenched fists, that could signify, or that could show us anger or frustration. That's what it could communicate. So there, if we look at this picture, you can see this woman looks very angry or frustrated. A lot of times we will see this on the faces of our parents or teachers when they are angry or frustrated and they clench their fists and they are, you see the mouth is also wide open and the eyebrows are pulled close together, so frowning there. Hearts and eyes, that could communicate love or admiration. So if you look at that picture without any words, when you see the hearts, you can see that this character is definitely, well, he likes what he sees and he's in love. A slouch figure with a dark cloud overhead, that could indicate sadness or defeat. There we see, if we look at this picture, definitely slouching forward, sadness or defeat on this character's face and body language. Raised eyebrows and wide eyes, that could be surprise or shock depending on the context. Now, visual storytelling tips. So this is now for your cartoons. When you look at a cartoon strip or a cartoon. So even without words, we can tell what's happening in a comic just by looking at the characters' expressions and body positions. So if we look at this example, there we see the cartoon, Madam and Eve. Now, if we look at, without looking at the words, you can just look at the facial expression of the girl. If we look at this one, you can see she's angry. How can you see that? Because her eyebrows are drawn together there and her mouth is pointing down. Her eyes also looking down, but from the whole facial expression, we can see that she is really angry. Then at the next one there, you can see her teeth clenched there. So now she's actually surprised. The teacher is looking at her. So clenching the teeth, looking up, you see the eyes are way up there. And then in the last one, we can see that she is speaking to the teacher with her face. Just from looking at her face, we can see she's answering a question. So speaking to the teacher. So without even reading, we can more or less see what is happening in the cartoon, although the words will help us to see if we are right. If we look at the next example, here we also see this is a cartoon Garfield. This dog looks like he might be very happy to see someone. And here, if we look at the cat's body language, the foot there is walking towards the dog. You can see because the foot is in the air and his arms are up. He has a big smile on his face. He's very happy to see the dog, and the dog also very happy. Looks like the dog is happy there. Then he said, here we see his arms outstretched, still big smile. So still happiness, happy to see the dog. The dog's very happy to see the cat. Then in this one, the cat is now leaning forward. His hands are now, both of the hands are on the mouth. And now we see there's a change. Do you see the change in the body language? So there it's very happy, but here we're wondering what's happening. He's leaning very close. And the dog's also wondering what's happening because he's leaning a bit back. And then he turns his body away. So he almost looks sad. Do you see his eyes? Looks sad now, and his hand is on his forehead. The other hand outstretched, showing to the dog or pointing to the dog that way. And the dog is now wondering what is going on. We can see he's wondering, that facial expression there. And there he gets the boot. The cat is kicking the poor dog. There he flies. And the cat seems happy about kicking the dog there. And there we can see on his face here, it looks quite evil as he has his eyes closed or slightly closed and an evil grin there on his mouth. So again, just by looking at the body language, we can figure out before we even read anything from the cartoon. Then the importance of body language in real life, why it matters. It adds meaning to spoken words. It helps us understand emotions and build relationships. In formal situations, interviews, orals, exams, and speeches, that will show that if you have a confident posture and facial expressions, that will make a good impression. So stand up straight, eye contact, maintain eye contact. Negative body language can send the wrong message. So if you look down and slouching, you might seem to be very shy. Let's look at other examples. If you say, I'm fine, with a smile, means something different from saying it while frowning. So you can say, I'm fine, and then you're smiling. You can even hear it in my voice. But now if you say, I'm fine, but you're frowning, do you hear the difference? Now, because in cartoons we cannot hear the sound or the tone of voice, we have to look at the facial expressions and the body language. So key points: body language, non-verbal communication using the body. Facial expressions reveal emotions and attitudes. Cartoons and comics use exaggerated body language